For no? Okay. All right. Court is calling 2025 CR 000240 and 2025 CR 013090. State versus Elizabeth Settle. Can I have parties announced for the record?
Hunter Morris for the state.
Will Brooks for the defendant, Judge.
All right. And you're Miss Settle? All right. We were here on July 28th. The court ordered you to have a drug testing done, and that was completed. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what were the results?
So she was positive, Your Honor, but it was for her medication-assisted treatment. There was nothing else, no other substances.
All right. So the other reason why I had this case recalled back, because this is actually a tough case, right? And it's a tough case, and when you read it on the surface.
This judge literally looked Elizabeth Settle in the eye and said, "You should be in prison, but I'm giving you one last chance." Yeah, this one gets complicated, so here's what's going down. Elizabeth Settle is back in court facing not one, but two felony cases, a second degree and a third degree. On paper, this is prison time, no question. But life isn't that simple. Settle has a child, a history of drug addiction, and according to her attorney, she's finally making changes. The state, though? They're not buying it. They're asking for prison time because, in their words, it's not just about Elizabeth, it's about her kids, her family, and her community.
On the surface, you should be going to prison. But then there are other things for me to consider as well. The fact that you have a child, and it appears that you have changed your life. And defense, I believe yesterday you said that she was being accepted into felony drug court.
Yes, Judge, and also I had some argument for the court too. The court was ready, but that is correct, Judge. She was screened for felony drug court. They did not accept her because at the time she had not been sentenced. But I verified with felony drug court that should she be placed on probation, they are able to accept her and can squeeze her in next week.
All right, so state.
Yes, Judge.
I understand why the reason you're asking.
First, the judge brings up the elephant in the room, Elizabeth's drug test. She tested positive, but only for her prescribed medication. Nothing else. No meth, no coke, no heroin. That's a point in her favor. Then the judge makes it clear, on the surface, you should be going to prison. That's not the kind of line you want to hear when your freedom is on the line. Defense jumps in hard. They argue she's changed. This time is different.
For prison time, I do. And I want you, Ms. Settle, to internalize what I'm saying. What I'm considering is the fact that she has a child. It appears that she has changed. Sometimes it takes people a long time to have a wake-up call. I still don't understand why you keep having children when your life is not where it should be. But usually when people are addicted to drugs, they're not thinking appropriately to begin with. They're not thinking about the future. They're not thinking about how their drug use will impact everyone else. And state on this case, I see that you're asking for a cap of 6 years in the prison. And one case is a second degree felony. And the other case is a third degree felony. And I'm assuming she has restitution to pay?
If it isn't included in that plea bargain right there, Judge, then no certain amount.
All right. So we're going to see the amount of restitution, and state you've had a chance to hear her testimony.
She's on GPS, compliant, doing programs, trying to be a mom, and most importantly, she hasn't run away. Which, let's be real, is a pretty low bar, but in court, it matters. The state claps back. They remind the judge, and everyone watching, that Elizabeth has been here before. Same story. Same I'll change this time. And last time, she went straight back to drugs and crime.
Are you still going to be requesting prison time?
Judge, the position of the state is that this offer was made considering the history, the knowledge that Ms. Settle has been before this court previously, also with a new child, asking for the same type of leniency in treatment and was offered that leniency in treatment and turned it down and returned directly to that life. And so it's not just Miss Settle the state is concerned about, but it's Miss Settle's children, it's Miss Settle's family, and it's Miss Settle's community, many of which were victims of Miss Settle. And that is the reason the state is opposed. But the state is cognizant of what appears to be genuine changes in Miss Settle's life.
All right. And I know that this involves her mother.
Yes, Judge. So the world is an ironic place. It turns out I'm appointed to represent Miss Settle, but I have known Miss Settle since she was about knee high. I've known the complainant, her mother, and also her brother, who's referenced in the PSI, someone that I went to high school with, was close friends with. Mm-hmm. So I've known this family a long time. I've spoken to the complainant, to her mother, Judge. Mm-hmm. She is certainly at wit's end with Miss Settle. She's spent a great deal of money helping her out, trying to get her on her feet. But it is also clear in the PSI that she is seeing and she's witnessed some of the changes that Miss Settle has made in her life and has made. And the question came up yesterday, Judge, what's different or what's changed? Mm-hmm. And I think the distinction between this time and last time, she did not do what she was supposed to do for you, Judge. It's very clear in the PSI back in 2020.
Harsh, but fair. Then comes the twist. The judge admits he's personally known Elizabeth and her family for years. The mother, the complainant in this case, has spent tons of money trying to save her daughter, but she's exhausted. Still, even Mom admits she's seen some real changes recently to this point. The defense drops the therapeutic justice angle. Addiction isn't cured, but maybe with felony drug court and strict probation, she has a shot. And here's where the judge lays it out. Option B. Probation with some brutal terms that we're talking 10 years deferred adjudication, GPS monitoring, drug court, random drug tests, parenting classes. No contact with a laundry list of people, 200 hours community service. But if she
was released from the jail accidentally, she skipped out on GPS. There were all sorts of issues, Judge. In this instance, since both when she was arrested and then certainly after being released on bond, she's made great strides to try and do what she's supposed to do. She's been on GPS, she's been compliant, she's been enrolling programs, she's tried to be a parent to her mother or to her child. She's also shown up here today, Judge. She's not run off, she's not fled, she's not skipping out on things. And when you're talking about therapeutic justice, Judge, when someone's an addict, there's no such thing as a cure. But it seems to me like she's trying to make some legitimate life changes. And I think society and Miss Settle would be served better by trying to get her some therapeutic justice and trying to continue her down this path rather than sending her to prison again. PSI, the complainants themselves don't indicate that they'd like Miss Settle to go to jail, prison. Her mother certainly would like Miss Settle to have the threat of prison or jail time hanging over her head, which is something I think is a great motivator a lot of times. So for those reasons, Judge, we're asking the court to consider probation or community supervision in some form in order into the drug court program.
All right. Anything you wish to add, State?
Judge, the state stands by its concern about Miss Settle being a good probationer, a good candidate for probation. That being said, the emphasis from the complainants was that if this court were to grant supervision, the state would ask for very structured supervision, because I do believe that it is a necessity in Miss Settle's life at this point. I believe drug court would be appropriate and, if needed, inpatient treatment.
All right. So the court is going to give you a choice. Some people say my probation is very difficult. I'm sure you're aware of that, as I've sentenced you before for not doing what you're supposed to do. I'm going to give you a choice. I can sentence you today, and I will sentence you to 3 years in the prison. Otherwise, the plea negotiation needs to be reworked. And by that, this is what I mean. The case that's a second-degree felony, I will give you deferred adjudication. And if you were revoked, you're looking at 20 years in the prison. Do you understand?
Sure.
passes parenting class, half of that is waived, and even a $1,000 fine, probated. Oh, and if she messes up, she's staring down 20 years in prison. That's a one slip and you're done kind of deal. Honestly, this is the classic courtroom tug-of-war, compassion versus accountability. On one hand, Elizabeth has a kid and seems to be turning a corner. On the other, she's burned this exact bridge before, and let's be real, the judge even threw some shade. I don't understand why you keep having kids when your life is not where it should be.
And then on the case that's a third-degree felony, I would convict you, but I want the underlying to be 10 years. So you can discuss that with your attorney.
Judge, you'd like the opportunity for probation, Your Honor?
All right. So normally, legally and ethically, I'm not allowed to interfere with negotiations. But what I'm telling you and telling your client on the cap of 6 offer, for me to request that it be an underlying of a cap of 10, that's changing your plea negotiations. And if you want a jury trial on that, you can have a jury trial on that. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Judge, on the second degree case,
Mhm.
is there no application for deferred indicated in that plea bargain agreement?
On that one, let me see. No, it just says that you're all opposed to community supervision in deferred adjudication, but I do have an application for deferred adjudication on that case. And on the firearm case, there is again, there's the state is opposed, but there is an application for deferred on that case.
So the only one we would need to change is the one with the conviction, so the third degree.
Yes.
This court could give them 10 years deferred on a cap of 6. Opposed.
Well, no, on the unlawful, we're off the record, on the unlawful possession of the court wants a conviction on that case.
Okay.
So there will be guilty, but I want her underlying to be the 10 years.
Understood.
And then on the other case at the second degree, I'll give her the deferred adjudication. So the reason why I'm doing that is because then on both cases, you will be subject to the full range of punishment if you were revoked. Do you understand?
Yes.
Understood, Judge.
So if you all want to change that to a cap of 10 and state, I'll still note that you're opposed.
Yes, ma'am.
And Ms. Abrams, on Ms. Settles, defense counsel has told me that felony drug court will accept her. And counsel, is she currently on GPS?
Yes, she is, Judge.
All right, we're going to continue with the GPS. Yes.
The case ending in 240, are we proceeding on count 1 or 2?
Let me see. They're proceeding.
Okay.
They're proceeding on count 2 as a repeater. I'm sorry, wait a minute. They're proceeding on count 1. They're waiving count 2 in the repeater.
Judge,
Yes.
here's that docket back, and we initialed the plea bargain change.
All right. Thank you, Hunter. All right. We're back on the record. Is there anything else from either side before the court enters its orders?
Nothing from the state, Judge.
No, just that we have no objection to the change from the cap 6 to the cap 10 here.
All right. Then in cause number 2025 CR 000240.
Ouch. Brutal truth bomb. In the end, the judge gives her the lifeline, probation, drug court, GPS, the whole package. But make no mistake, Elizabeth is walking a legal tightrope. One slip, and prison bars are waiting. So what do you think? Did the judge make the right call by giving Elizabeth another shot, or should he have locked her up to protect the community? Thanks for watching. If you love courtroom drama mixed with tough legal choices, hit subscribe and stick around, because we've got more cases coming that'll blow your mind.
The court is going to grant your application for deferred adjudication. Court is going to sentence you to 10 years deferred adjudication. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person, regular random UAs, proof of employment within 45 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. This is the run concurrent with 2024 CR 013090. With regards to this, no harmful or injurious contact with KPEC and family. And then there's no contact with Linda Vargas, Destiny Thurston, Juan Uriega.
Uriega, Judge.
Yeah, thank you. I look at Deputy Laura because she's like, I'm trying to teach you. David Getz, Goetz, or Dick Creamer. And there'll be restitution, if any, to all complainants. If there's an issue with the restitution amount, we can have a restitution hearing. And Ms. Ferguson, can you set this in 45 days for restitution hearing, please? In case there is any.
Fair enough.
All right, what date? All right, we're going to come back on September 11th and state this just to see if there's any restitution amount that's owed. And we'll have a restitution hearing on that day.
Yes, ma'am.
Just one moment. Deputy Laura, are you okay? Thank you. All right, there's to be no contact with Rudy Rodriguez. There's to be 200 hours of community service restitution. I'm going to order parenting classes. Once that's complete, 100 hours will be deemed satisfied. There's $1,000 fine that will be probated. And there's to be a referral to felony drug court. If for some reason she's not accepted in a felony drug court, she's to come back to this court. However, counsel has informed me she has been accepted. And there's to be continued GPS until further notice. Probation, is there anything else with regards to that sentencing?
Yes. Are you waiting?
Yes.
And can you please, no contact, did you say no harmful or injurious?
No harmful or injurious contact with PECK, PECK, and family. And then there's to be no contact with Linda Vargas, Destiny Thurston, THURSTEN, Juan Uriega, David Getz, GOETZ, and Dick Creamer, and Rudy Rodriguez.
Judge, to put a fly in the ointment, Mr. Rodriguez is actually the child's father.
I'm just going by what's in the plea paperwork. So that's something that will need to be addressed with Judge Glenn. Probation, is there anything else? Anything else with regards to sentencing in that call?